Dun, 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 dun. Working on some theme music, but for now, viewers, you have to put up with me going dun, 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 dun. It is Wednesday night as I suddenly realised that despite telling myself to turn it off earlier, my phone is glitching. Alright, you're here on the Community Sports Show for Wednesday night. It is the Lacrosse LWA Midweek Show. Good to have you all with us wherever you are across the globe. And once again, I'm joined by Bayswater's goalkeeper extraordinaire, Harrison Parker. Welcome back, mate.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's awesome.
Once again, you've come in here a bit battered and bruised.
Yep.
What's going on?
Last weekend, with the absence of Lucas Deschen, they told me, not asked me, but told me that I will be playing the role of goalkeeper in the Division 2 team.
Awesome.
As much as I was looking for a year this year to hone in on my skills and to go forth with my potential, they've dropped me straight back into the game. So it was a great game, except for the fact that every 10 seconds a shot was coming my way, and I did the most that I could, but at the end of the day, left halfway through the third quarter, got jumped onto and my knee gave out. So yeah,
your knee gave out. What, are you getting old or something?
Oh, when you've been a goalkeeper for almost 10 years, everything seems to age pretty quick. So it's not fun.
Well, good to see a few people have jumped online there already. Good to have you with us as we just nut out that little glitching stuff there. We'll kill that and bring the comments back up. Harrison, good to have you back, mate. Big shout out to Chris White. He can't be with us, but to all the viewers out there, wherever you are across the globe, it's great to have you with us here tonight for what is a finals edition, mate. Plenty to get through.
Very nervy.
Well, women's finals underway, men's finals starting next week, junior finals in progress. It's all go here on the Community Sports Show as we have a look at what's going on across the Perth lacrosse scene and a bit beyond. So tonight, viewers, we are on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully now I've sorted that glitch. Big thank you to Mundaring Football Club and Wembley Lacrosse Club for hosting us last weekend, and double header last weekend, mate. But we can't do any of that without our fabulous sponsors, ID Athletic and Vision Decor. We appreciate their support and encourage you to get those behind us as we take local sports to the world. Now, 17 pages of notes to get through. Are you ready, viewers? I hope so, because we are. And we should say, Harrison, before we kick it off, because we've switched over to finals mode, we've changed up the sequencing a little bit. I think we're changing the order. Do you remember what we're doing?
So we're starting off with the juniors right now, starting with the junior men, then going on to the junior women, and then going on to the senior women, and then to the senior men, and then from that we'll be heading over east to Victoria and South Australia.
We will indeed, and a big shout out to all our Victorian and South Australian supporters. We know we've got a few joining us on Facebook. Hopefully you've come across to YouTube as well to let us know that people are online, Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a bit of a deal going on tonight, thanks to our friends at Limelight Memorabilia and Collectibles. Dean True out there gave us a bit of a prize to give away. Dun, 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 dun. Up there it is, your very own. Oh, you can put it down now, you don't have to hide your face, it's not that bad. Your very own Australian Wallabies jumper or jersey there is available for you tonight. All you have to do is comment live in the YouTube feed so that we can see it, so that we know that you're out there and you're in the running. We'll draw that at the end of the night. And as always, if we miss anything, if we've got something wrong, if we mispronounce your name, we're sorry. In the notes I've gone phonetic again.
Phonetic?
Yep.
Cool.
If you've got a highlight, a milestone, just let us know in the comments. And before we kick off, Harrison, Olympics, only a few days left to go. We asked the question during the week, are people still a fan? Are you a fan of the Olympics?
I still am a fan, but a lot of my friends aren't. And I think the whole Olympics in Paris recently, there's been a lot that has gone wrong, and I can tell that people aren't really feeling the Olympics the same.
Well, a lot of people still enjoying them. There's definitely a few controversies, a few funny moments as well, highlighting the fun part of sport, I guess, unless you're that competitor high on the crossbeam and those sort of situations. But we shared a post yesterday. Our little old show, we started 5 years ago, 2019 we began, and in our first year we did a bit of track cycling. And we covered the state events here and West Australia's oldest cycling race. And at those events we got to meet a couple of riders who have actually been competing over there in Paris. So a big shout out to Matt Richardson, who took out bronze in the team sprint for Australia, very satisfyingly up against the French in front of a big crowd at the velodrome there. And a shout out to Sam Welsford as well, another local WA boy from Subiaco. He's in the team pursuit, that ride coming up against Great Britain for gold, so fingers crossed. Alright, as you said, Harrison, it's time to have a look at the juniors, and we'll kick it off with the under-11s as we do each and every week, viewers. Just a couple of weeks left, and last week they were at Bayswater.
They were, and the results are East Fremantle Bulls scored 8, beating Wanneroo Joondalup 7. Alkimos scored only 4, losing to Wembley Green 13. Phoenix also scoring 4, fell to Wembley Gold, scoring 13 as well. And Bayswater also with 4 went down to the East Fremantle Sharks, who scored 7.
Dun, 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 dun. East Fremantle Sharks up and about, and the Sharks of East Fremantle Lacrosse also up and about last week. It's the second last week this weekend, and the under-11s are all at Wanneroo Joondalup on Saturday. Usual start 8:30, and a couple of big games here. Wembley Gold up against the Bulls. Wanneroo Joondalup taking on Wembley Green, while Alkimos take on the Sharks. Dun, 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 dun. And an interesting one here, Bayswater up against Phoenix. Bayswater no wins yet, Phoenix sitting second bottom, so an opportunity here for the green and red.
Hopefully we can get that through and try and convert it, but I don't doubt that they'll have a lot of fun.
Well, that's a lot of what it's all about, viewers, and having fun here on the Community Sports Show. Thanks to ID Athletic for all your... I noticed you're wearing your blue singlet tonight.
I am too. It's very nice and comfortable.
Got the rig out, and me in my polo here. Thanks to ID Athletic, and of course thanks to Vision Decor as well for their continued support of our show. It's the last, or actually it was their last regular match last weekend for the under-13s, and 3 games as always. Wembley 5 lost to East Fremantle 7. Bayswater with 3 felt the attacking power of a strong Wanneroo Joondalup side with 20, while Alkimos went down to Phoenix Subiaco by 10, 17-7.
Wanneroo Joondalup placing first at the moment and holding that minor premier's title, going 14-1 with 431% for the season.
Not bad.
East Fremantle second on 12-3 with 167%. Phoenix Subiaco take third with 8-7. Wembley take fourth from Bayswater by 7%, both on 5-10. Alkimos is out for the season.
Yeah, unfortunately so too. At Bayswater, they're missing out by just 7% behind Wembley. So that means that the finals kick off this week. Let's have a look first at how the stats went. And Tim Gould finished his season with 55 goals for Wanneroo Joondalup. Moses Williams with 49 for Phoenix Subiaco, and Jono, should have written his full name there, Jay Griffiths, sorry, I did look, he had 44 as well for Phoenix Subiaco there, sorry Griffo.
Tim Gould with 20 assists and Xander Levy with 18.
Yeah, that's the end of the under-13s stats. The semis are on Saturday. Neither of these will be streamed, so if you want to see the under-13s, then head on down because they're being played. Wanneroo Joondalup have a number of their junior sides in the finals as well, and with Bayswater not being able to get access to the second field for the finals, the 13s are split across two grounds. Phoenix Subiaco taking on Wembley nice and early at 8:30 at Bayswater in an elimination final there.
Cold. It'd be very cold.
Cold, damp and wet.
I used to hate waking up that early for a game. But nonetheless, Wanneroo Joondalup against East Fremantle at 10:15, and Wanneroo Joondalup, if they win into grand final.
Yeah, well, whoever wins that game through to the grand final. So that game is at Wanneroo Joondalup, viewers. So if you want to watch the 13s, Phoenix Subiaco there at Bayswater at 8:30, and Wanneroo Joondalup taking on East Fremantle at 10:15 up there at Wanneroo Joondalup. We did see today, in fact, I think it was announced, Jared Griffiths, there you go, I knew I wrote it down somewhere. The top four in the under-13s sees Tim Gould, Jared Griffiths, Xander Levy, three names we just mentioned there, they've been regulars, along with Max Headley Weston of Wanneroo Joondalup in the top four for the under-13s. They'll get announced, I suspect, next week.
Last week was the final round of the year for the 15s men. Wembley 15 beating East Fremantle, who only managed to score 8. Still a very fantastic effort by them. Bayswater 13 beating Subiaco Phoenix 5. Wanneroo Joondalup Blue got 16 on the board, beating their red clubmates by scoring 11.
Yeah, that was the Wanneroo Joondalup Derby up there, and it was the Blues taking out the Reds. Well, that means after the 15s have played their final round that Bayswater take out the minor premiership and they finish on top with 12 wins, 2 losses and 1 draw to take that title. Wembley will be second. They've got 11 wins regardless. So just behind there, Wembley, unlucky. Wanneroo Joondalup Blue finished with 8 and 7 losses to take third spot, while Subiaco Phoenix will finish, or have finished, 4th with just the 5 wins, while Wanneroo Joondalup Red and East Fremantle miss out. And we'll come to that question in a moment, because there is one burning around the under-15s. If anyone out there knows, let us know the answer.
Will Frenchman, with an amazing season, had 6 to end his last game for his regular season on 104 goals out of his team's 195. While Jack McCracken had 9 last weekend to also finish on 104 out of Wanneroo Joondalup Reds total of 156.
Now the question to pose here, because Wanneroo Joondalup Red are now out of the finals.
Right.
Jack McCracken with 104 goals, a fantastic effort there, Jack, especially with 9 last week. But the question I've got is, can he switch from the Reds to the Blues to play finals for the Blues? I don't know.
I might have an answer. Depends if he has played for them. I believe, let's say...
Isn't it the most games?
You have to play minimum... I think it's 4 games in the regular seasons to be able to play the finals, but I don't think that they'd let that go through, even if he did play 4 games.
I'm not sure. We're just asking the questions. Wanneroo Joondalup Blue, don't get cross at us. We're here to ask the questions. because that would be a very handy in, a bloke that's put 100 goals plus in the back of the net in the season. Well, Ashchinsky, he had another bag of 7. He finished third in the goal scoring with 65. That's 40 behind. While Tom Warren of East Fremantle leads the assist stats with 28, and Will Frensham finishing second with 21. In the semi-finals this weekend, a bit like the 13s, are spread across a couple of grounds.
At 12 o'clock, all at Halliday, we have Bayswater against Wembley.
And he's just stopped talking there because I was going to talk about Bayswater's chances. They've been really strong, finished on top, took out the minor premiership. At home, taking on Wembley. Wembley have got some good players though, so Charlie Bugg, Caleb Rieger, Mace Carter and Jet Hall amongst those players for Wembley that Will Frensham will need to get more than a few of those guys combined.
Familiar names that we've had on this show in the past few weeks, a lot of those names.
They are, and best of luck to both sides in that game. We'll get there. I'll be there and I'll see that, but we're not streaming it. The other semi-final, this one is an elimination final again, up at Wanneroo Joondalup as Wanneroo Joondalup Blue, that's why I asked those questions, take on Subiaco Phoenix in an elimination final. You'd think at home, Wanneroo Joondalup, they finished third, a couple of wins ahead of Subiaco Phoenix, and of course you're not going to tip against Bayswater, are you? I've been married long enough to know that look, and that was no.
Anything can happen in the finals. We once went a whole season undefeated and lost in the finals by 6 goals, so you never know.
But that's the thing, isn't it? There's a number of sides we'll look at, or a couple of sides we'll look at, have had really good seasons this year, and it is all down to best performance on the day. So even if you are in 4th place, regardless of what grade you're in, you never know, because surprises can happen. And last weekend in the under-17 men's competition, well, Wembley got taught a bit of a lesson. They went down to East Fremantle 11-19. For Wembley, Caleb Rieger with 3, Alexander Mitchell-Lewis, Tyson Gill and Clay Allen all with 2.
Team effort. Very, very East Fremantle.
Well, that was the Wembley there, but the East Fremantle team effort there is these guys, and you mentioned familiar names. There's a few of you to rattle off.
East Fremantle, Tom Warren with 5, Will Frenchman with 4, Mitchell White with 3, Kian, did I say that right?
Yeah.
Kian Orson, Laidley, Finn Everall and Lockie Wills, on all 3 of them on 2 goals for that game.
Yeah.
Very high scoring game.
And again, a good team effort, as you said, by East Fremantle. It's going to be a tough one for anyone that comes up against them in the finals. Well, Subiaco Phoenix, or Phoenix Subiaco if you prefer out there, they went down 5-13 to Wanneroo Joondalup in the 17s. Oscar Shiner having a great performance, getting 4 of his team's 5 goals, if you don't mind. Well, for Wanneroo Joondalup, Lockie Daniel with 4, Jack McCracken, Ash Chinsky, Rowan Glass and Tom Mashler, all with pairs.
The ladder remains unchanged even after those games. East Fremantle are still on top with 13 wins and 2 losses, now grabbing that minor premiership. Wembley have held on to second place with 8 wins, 6 and a draw.
6
8 wins,
losses.
6 losses and a draw.
Had to fit it in one line.
Wanneroo Joondalup are third with 7 wins, 7 losses and 1 singular draw, while Phoenix Subiaco are 4th on 1 win, versing Wembley in round 13.
Yeah, that win
was their only win.
Yeah, for Phoenix Subiaco, but they got one And that's what it's all about, having a crack. And they are one of those sides, one win up against Wanneroo Joondalup, who've had 7. But anything can happen. No Jack McCracken in that team. Well,
No.
actually, there is. So that's in the 17s. He
Yeah,
plays up.
that's
so
right.
plays up. So that's what his mum.
You'd expect with 104 goals, right?
Yeah, you'd think so. And as a result of all that, if you don't mind, goal scorers galore here. Will Frensham with another 37 here in the under-17s to go with his 104 in the 15s, giving him a season total of 141 goals for the season. Fantastic effort, Will. I'm not sure why we're glitching, viewers. I'm not quite sure how I can fix that while we're on air. I don't want to pretend like nothing's happening. I can see it, but I'm not sure how we fix it, as he gives me little sideways glances that I see on screen. Don't give me the eyebrows. Don't offer what you can't deliver. Oscar Shiner. Let's move on. Oscar Shiner finished second in the goal scoring with 34, so just 3 behind overall in the 17s there. Alexander Mitchell-Lewis and Lockie Daniel with 28. Well, Lockie Daniel also leading the goal scorers, the assists I should say, with 23 to his name.
Semis on Saturday, we've got Wanneroo Joondalup going against Phoenix Subiaco at Wanneroo Joondalup at 8:30 in an elimination match. East Fremantle going up against Wembley at Halliday Park at 10:15.
Yeah, that one there for the 17s, winner through to the grand final automatically, and the loser will take on the winner of Wanneroo Joondalup versus Phoenix Subiaco next weekend. So just again, viewers, just be aware, as we checked these late yesterday afternoon, the LWA app had not been updated, so all 3 junior men's grades, 13s, 15s and 17s, being played both at Halliday Park and at Penistone up there in Wanneroo Joondalup. So check your fixtures, check your club socials, find out where your team is playing. Because you know what, mate? Well, they're all just starting their finals. The women are running 1 in the juniors. And last Sunday we had a couple of grand finals, and we've got some score updates there. We'll kick it off first of all by having a look at the under 14s. And just a big shout out again to Wanneroo Joondalup taking out the minor premiership. However, they played Bayswater in the grand final last week at Bayswater and went down 15-7. So minor premiers didn't get the double. Bayswater 17 in a, I think that might be 16 because it says in a golden goal thriller. Elizabeth Hogg with 7 for Wanneroo Joondalup, along with Zach Cadow, who also had 7, and Georgia Roja getting the single. Well, for your side,
Cleona Ellers had 1 more with 8 goals for Bayswater, including the match winner in overtime, while Jeb Jobson had 6, and both Kenzie Barlett and Mackenzie Reardon had 1 each.
Yeah, congratulations to Bayswater, their 4th consecutive under 14s premiership there, so that's a bit of an effort indeed. Just like the effort that was put in to get the Association Fairest and Best Awards announced. Last week we announced the top 4, and good day to, wow, good to see you there, Ratfinker. I've got to get used to, I'm used to names, now I'm seeing usernames. Hello, Ratfinker. Yeah, smile there. But let's soldier on, because the Association Fairest and Best, as Ratfinger gives a shout out to the Basie girls, in the Association Fairest and Best it was Elizabeth Hogg taking out the title for Wanneroo Joondalup, and Bayswater's very own Jem Jobson taking the runners-up position there, while Cleona Allers, again Bayswater just continuing to dominate across the junior grades, finished her season with 63, Elizabeth Hogg with 58 goals, and Jem Jobson rounding out the top 3 goal scorers, finishing on 55. Now, you know what?
What?
We can't do all of this. Glitching aside, we are very proud to have I've learnt where to point, the sponsors scrolling across the bottom there, Vision Decor and ID Athletic as well. We're supported by Ashby Farrell White Arch for all your real estate needs, and Barnett Construction if you want something big built. If there's anyone out there with a grant, I'd like a new studio out the back, a bit bigger and a bit warmer. What do you reckon?
I think it would be a great addition.
You can build it with Barnett if you want it built big. And thanks as always to Nathan of Nathan's Event Hire for helping us. And I'll give him feedback about glitches. He can figure that out ahead of Saturday in fact. Well, speaking of great organisations, last week I announced the junior men's teams going over to Adelaide in September for the national tournament, and during the week Lacrosse WA announced the women's teams, and a congratulations to all of those we're about to name. It's like a telethon here. You ready?
Yep.
I think if we take it line by line,
Alright.
because I deliberately did the first one so that you take the first line, that is for the Flames with coaches Shannon and Aaron Mitchell, and then I'll take the second line of names and alternate from there for you.
Alright. Second line.
No, you go, you start with Cleona.
Cleona Ellers, Blake Rainey, Willow Musker, Remy Twite.
As well as Neve Solomon, Karenza Noddle and Amelia Voolen.
Macy Parker, although I don't think I'm related to Macy Parker. But Kenzie Bartlett, Addison Shaw, Elizabeth Hogg.
Well, I've just figured out who the Ratfink is, and it's one of our faithful servants and supporters, not a servant, a supporter, Tammy Williamson online there. She's proud as punch about her daughter's performance there. And at the moment, you're the only name in our draw to win. We won't move it again because it rattles too much. But the Australian Wallabies top, comment online and say g'day, and we'll put you in the draw. Next line for the Flames sees Teresa Turkova, Emily Aravidas and Chanel Reardon-Ager in the lineup.
Sophie McBean and Charlie Rose Wadwell for the Flames.
That is the Flames, and it's another Bayswater star, Chloe Tatlow, in charge of the Stars.
With joining her is Poppy Barron, Evie Jobson, Jem Jobson, Zara Jewell.
Sorry, I forgot we were doing the tag team thing there. You were looking so serious and intent, I was prepared to let you go. Lola Schomburg, Addison Reardon and Georgia Rosier.
Dakota Levy, Lily McRoberts, Alice Dawson, Mia Taylor.
As well as Ava Claire Smirk, Mackenzie Reardon and Isla Emerson.
Madison Crane, Ava Joy de Saint Joy, Frenchie's daughter.
Correct. You almost got away with it. It's taken me 3 years to get my tongue around it. Geordie de St. Jaw. Although I stuck an extra D in there. Jaw de St. Jaw.
I should know that. He's my teammate.
Yes, well, no names, no pack drills, but congratulations to all of those young players and the coaches and officials and staff going over to Adelaide there. I think playing in I feel like saying Glenelg, but it might also be Sturt in September, so good luck. Alright, there was another junior women's grand final last weekend, and Bayswater for the third consecutive time were the minor premiers for the women's under-17s competition. That's 3 big ups to you. I'll figure out where the hand goes there. 3 big ups, because I came in and Harrison said, are we swapping sides today? And I just realised if I put my good hand up, that's off camera. And if you put your hand up, you hit things. So we'll have to figure that out for next week, mate. But we'll soldier on. Congratulations. What was the scoreline, though? What happened in the women's 17s grand final?
Well, Bayswater bagged 10, beating Wembley 6 to take their third under-17s premiership in a row. They led 5-2 at half-time, so it was pretty, I'd like to say pretty close, coming towards half-times, but half-time talks, tactics change.
Coaches
players
get upset, players get motivated, all of that stuff happens, I'm sure of it.
With Addison Reardon being the top scorer for the game with 5 for Bayswater, Matty Walters having 2, then it was all singles going to Nikki Carson,
Saratha Brandis-DeRoos,
Charlotte Macy, Remy Twite, Chanel Reardon, Agar, Madison Carroll,
Sophia Brigetti, Talia Edwards and Ella Rose rounding out the individual goal scorers in the grand final there. We thought, get a goal in a grand final, you deserve a mention, even if your side went down. So 3 minor premierships in a row for Bayswater and 3 titles in a row for the Bayswater under-17s. Very, very, very good performance there. And we're starting to see that flow-on effect. We'll have a look at the seniors in a moment. But we're starting to see that flow-on effect up through the grades for Bayswater, so the future is bright. Well, after her 5 goals last week, Addison Reardon finished on top of the goal scorers with 52 for the season, while Corey Rainey of Phoenix finished second with 41.
Sophia Brigetti and Sophie McBean shared the assist title with 14 each, and Nikki Carson 13.
Yeah, good effort by the Sophs there. One from Wembley, one from Bayswater. Good to see the Bayswater ladies doing the assists. We got asked to look at that earlier in the year, and as we've tracked it, not sure. What if you shuffle half an inch back? Or maybe it's the phone, actually, because it normally doesn't have a phone there. Just curious. Let's just test it, because I'm open. Oh gosh, I tell you what, you can take him anywhere once, not twice though. Well, hopefully that might fix the problem. Simple solution, but hey, it's connection. See, already less glitching. As I say that, commentator's curse kicks in. There's no commentator's curse for the Association Fairest and Bests. The announcement's also made during the week, and Sophia Brigetti of Wembley taking out the Association Fairest and Best for the under-17 women, and runner-up, congratulations to Claire Lawrence of Wanneroo Joonla. Right now, this is where the sound effects, if ever I can figure out how to add them to our platform, will come in, because it's time to blow the whistle or the horn. It's half-time as we wrap up the juniors and have our half-time segment there. Ratfink just commenting left, right and centre. Someone else comment as well. Let us know where you're watching from. We've got an Australian Wallabies top to give away. All you have to do is say good day in the comments and you're in the running, and we'll draw it later on tonight. Well, last year, on I think it was a Wednesday or a Thursday night, I went down to Phoenix and did the North versus South tournament. And it's on again, and I don't know, that hasn't fixed it, and it's got me frustrated, but I've learnt there is nothing I can do right now. It's worked all day. I just smile, say hello, and tell you all to nominate for the North versus South 2024 tournament. Details available on the Lacrosse WA website. This tournament running, I'm not sure why you'd do it just after the end of the season, and with the women winding up this week, a few weeks after, but it's a post-season competition on Saturday, September the 7th, with men's, women's and juniors. North versus South. Nominate today and get involved there. I'll let you take the easy one there.
Best wishes to our under-20 reps and the team, who are now in Japan for warm-up games before the Worlds in Hong Kong. Osha Levy and Holly Plummer, along with Faye Beeman as team manager, and Chloe Tatlow on stats. The competition starts on the 16th in Hong Kong. Game 1 against New Zealand, so I'd like to think a bit of a rivalry there.
Yeah, across the ditch and others in that pool with Australia and New Zealand, Italy, Mexico and Scotland. And we'll have a look at the IJL in just a second. But first, let's recognise the performance. She's getting a few mentions tonight, this lady. Sophia Brighetti, congratulations, bringing up 150 games for Wembley. And a very shy Talia Edwards didn't want to be recognised. I saw the socials and she said, take that down. Well, bad luck, Talia. I'm telling the world, congratulations to you for 210 games. Now, we mentioned the World's coming up shortly over there in Hong Kong, but right now we've got a couple of players from Perth in the Australian junior box team over there in Erie, Pennsylvania, taking part in the IIJL World Junior Box Tournament. Luca Blues of East Fremantle and Adam Smedley of Bayswater over there in the US at the moment. And at the end of day 3, well, the ladder sees Canada on top with 2 wins, no losses. Scotland with 2 wins as well. They're out there to show. And I've seen them in a couple of tournaments now. They're actually quite a strong side, the Scottish.
It's looking pretty good for them.
Well, they're equal with the USA on 2 wins and 1 loss. While both Australia and Poland yet to register a win. But good experiences, that's what it's all about. Getting the experience, the exposure and seeing what goes on there. That's the thing about lacrosse, really, isn't it? How many of you've travelled?
Yeah.
Plenty of mates travelled for lacrosse?
Yeah.
A few?
I've met everyone from Americans to Germans to Kiwis to Japanese to mates over on the east coast of Australia. No matter where I go, I think I'll have someone I know from lacrosse. So it's great. That's all I can really say about it.
Well, it is about friends, and a big shout out to a friend of the show, Tony Barker, another one of your mates out there at Bayswater, and a warm and cheeky welcome to the 60 Club. He celebrated his birthday just yesterday. He's joining Chris Hockey and I in the 60 Club there, so welcome, Tony. And before we get into the women's finals for D2 and State League, it's with some sad news. We wrap up our halftime segment here tonight as we pass on our respects to the Hogg family on the passing of Peter Hogg, who a long-term supporter of lacrosse and involved with both Wembley and Williamstown lacrosse clubs. In fact, he made the 1964, that's the year Tony, Chris and I were born, so go the 64ers. The Australian touring team there, he was the fairest and best association winner here in WA. He was part of the premiership, the A-grade title for Williamstown back in 1963.
Jeez.
Their very first. So our thoughts go out to the Hogg family across Australia, wherever you are. Our thoughts are with you. And the funeral tomorrow is down in Mandurah. Funeral details are on the Wembley Lacrosse page. If you're a friend or family member of the Hoggs, check out the Wembley Lacrosse Club page for details about the funeral. Now, we're about to start the second half of this broadcast, and I think we're going to pick it up pretty much where we left it off.
Basically, Division 2, Bayswater took the minor premiership.
What?
Again.
Come on, Bayswater, share it around.
In the preliminary final, Wanneroo Joondalup scoring 10 and lost a thriller to Wembley scoring 11. I could imagine how heartbreaking that'd be.
Yeah, look, for Wanneroo Joondalup, Megan Shanks had 3, Lee Furnell had 2, and then singles to Siobhan Simmons, Nur Roslan, Maddie Anchelov, Jamison May, and rounding it out, Geordie Ballerine for Wanneroo Joondalup.
Wembley had Jenny Edwards, apologies. Olivia Hall with 3 each. Emma Tregurtha, awesome.
Trust yourself, mate. Trust yourself. You're good at this now.
With 2 and singles to Gail Allen, Samara Edwards, and we believe it was Amy Bowman with the match winner.
Yeah, well, congratulations, Wembley. That's good news for them. Bad news for us, but a big shout out to Shendell Oliver, a supporter of our show, and she commentates for us. She did the Sixers women's grand final, and she was lined up to do the commentary for the women's finals, but now she's playing. So congratulations, Shendell, and I mean that genuinely. They take on Bayswater this Saturday. Important news here, ladies. If you're not already aware, if you haven't seen it, the women's finals are Saturday this weekend at Halliday Park. So the Division 2 grand final is at 1:45 between Bayswater and Wembley. And looking at the stats across the season, as I discreetly tried to slide the cursor back to where it was meant to be, the latter stats sees Bayswater with 12 wins while Wembley with just 6, but they're in that final, and that's what you spoke about, mate.
Yep, it did. So, do you want to take this one, or would you like?
Yeah, well, the head-to-head results, he's gone. I don't know how to interpret what I'm reading. Basically, looking at, because they're the grand finals and they're seniors, we'll have a bit of a thought about it, because you'd think they're ladder positions, 6 games difference between them. Head-to-head, Bayswater have won both games, but it's only been by 4 or 5 goals. And realistically, if we see Jenny Edwards, Olivia Hall, and the rest of the names you mentioned up there come together, well, Bayswater might be at home, but they're going to need to turn up.
Home ground advantage.
No such thing in finals.
That is very true.
No, both sides are there, equal opportunity. Again, you're probably not going to tip against Bayswater. And I suspect, unfortunately for Wembley supporters out there, I suspect that Nikki and Jess Carson, Caitlin Sigler-Getty, Saratha Brandis DeRoos, and Maddie Walters with Ruby Taylor in goals will probably just be a little bit too strong for Wembley. That's my call. And you don't have to make one because you've got to go to club training tomorrow night. Goal scorers though, let's have a look at those.
Beck Bryan finished with 38 goals, Caitlin Sigler-Getty 34, Nikki Carson 16 assists, and Maddie Walters with 10 of herself. Top 4 with no MVP known yet: Nikki Carson, Bayswater; Olivia Hall, Wembley; Michaela Johns, Subiaco; Ellie Marlowe, Wanneroo Joondalup. So very diverse across clubs.
Yeah, a bit of Bayswater representation there in the top 4, and those stats are interesting going into the final there. You look at Caitlin with 34 goals just behind Beck Bryan of Phoenix. They're not in, Beck. They're not in the finals. Bayswater are. Caitlin, the second highest goal scorer, and served well by Nikki and Maddie with the setups and the assists there. So going to be a tough one for Wembley, but hey, you're there, and we'll be streaming that game, viewers, so if you can't make it in person, be sure to join me, and if you'd like to help commentate that game, then please feel free to join me in the broadcast van as well as online for that one. Okay, the Women's State League Grand Finals, well, it's coming up this Saturday, but to get there had to be a preliminary final. And after Subiaco took the minor premiership over East Fremantle, they then lost their semi-final in week 1 and had to bounce back last week in the prelim over Phoenix, taking the win in another close one here. Phoenix really put in on a show, 10 goals to 9, 6 all at half time, and Phoenix were up by 1 at 3/4 time, so you can imagine the crowd was up for the ladies in black.
100%. I mean, close games. I love close games, and I think as much as it is very stressful for other spectators, I love it.
Yeah, well, it was a 4-2 last quarter by Subiaco that got them the win, so they had to dig deep, and it was Kate Hooper stepping up to dominate. She's been a little bit quiet in my opinion. I don't suspect you know a lot about Kate, but she is a great performer, solid at all levels, but just been a little quiet in front of goals this year compared to last Kate. But she had 6, while Emma Green had 3, and Shannon Mitchell with 1 for Subiaco.
Ash Hiron took the lead with 5 goals for Phoenix. Corey Rainey with 2 in singles to Riley McGee and Elise Elders. My bad.
You want to have a go at that one again?
Elders.
That's it. A big shout out to Elise. She is heading back to the States, I believe. I saw a post on Phoenix wishing her all the best. So good to have met you, Elise, and hopefully we see you back in action for the next season. So Subiaco, well, they've got up over Phoenix, but now they have to take on East Fremantle. We've got the likes of Posey O'Keefe, Tegan Brown, Olivia Wills, Jess Kennedy and Georgia Portlock to contend with. This game also on Saturday now at 3:30. If you're used to the Women's State League at 3, be aware it's 3:30 this Saturday. Yeah, I'll correct myself. And in the season, they've played each other 4 times. Very strange. I know. I'm not sure how that worked. Subiaco getting the first, and then the second in round 3 before East Fremantle and Subi had a draw in round 10, and then it was Subiaco again. So Subiaco 3 wins, 1 draw against East Fremantle this season. Where on the ladder, Subiaco 9 wins, East Fremantle also 9 wins, and just 1 draw separating them.
East Fremantle having 9-3-1 for the season so far.
Well, you said you like close games. You're not going to get much closer than 9 wins each. And East Fremantle with it all to play for here. And I don't know. This will be a tough one.
I might actually go down and watch that. That might be a lot of fun to watch.
Well, Shandell Oliver will hopefully have recovered from Wembley winning the Division 2 Grand Final over Bayswater and be able to console herself to come in. What was that? I got a dirty look then. What was that for?
I didn't give you no dirty look.
Well, there were no dirty looks for Ash Hiron either. She just continued to be a goal-scoring machine this season. She finished with 47, Tegan Brown with 40, or Courtney Beale of Subiaco. So here's where it gets interesting. Ash is out of the finals, Hannah's out of the finals, Tegan with 40 goals, Courtney with 36, along with Hannah Stampalia.
A lot of familiar names.
And there's a couple of familiar names in the top 4. Again, no MVP pending this weekend's matches.
State League are Ash Hiron, Bailey Rose Keenan, Shannon Mitchell and Posey O'Keefe.
So just a reminder, viewers, those 2 women's senior finals on Saturday at 1:45 for Division 2 and then 3:30 for the State League. We'll be covering both of those games on Saturday. If you'd like to jump in the commentary van and help me commentate the D2, I'd love to hear from you. Alright, let's get into what was the second last round for the senior men.
Wembley scoring 6 against East Fremantle 10 was match of the round. I agree.
That was meant to be.
Against 1v2, James Robinson and Jordan Swadling both had 2 each for Wembley.
Yeah, and just before you go on, there was a big shout out as we continue to glitch and I continue to smile, mindful I can't do. There's so much I want to do, viewers. I'm not sure what I can actually do at the moment. I'll hide that. I'll minimise that and see if that doesn't help us. Who knows? Modern technology. And I won't go quite that far, but I did, didn't I? Okay, let's have a look at the men's Division 3 as this bloke goes, no, that's Women's State League. You mentioned the top of the table there. Jordan Swadlin, though, which is where we're at. And that's kind of appropriate that there's a glitch there. Good to see you back, Geordie, and there's lots of excitement to see Geordie back with a lacrosse stick in his hand. East Fremantle, though, well, they had the best of the day. Tim Lorian with 4, John Redmond had 3, or Luke Grootveld 2, and it was a 6-0 third quarter for East Fremantle that did the damage, and despite a 4-1 final quarter for Wembley, it wasn't enough. East Fremantle continuing their D3 juggernaut journey through the 2024 season.
Bayswater against Wanneroo Joondalup ended in a 3-7 win for Wanneroo Joondalup. A win for Bayswater would have placed them 4th. Rob Morris with 2 and Andre Jurgensen with 1 for Wanneroo Joondalup. Paul Pulmer Pemberson had 3 of his own, and the singles went to Amarin, Yates, Stevenson and Clay.
Yeah, Nathan Clay there getting in amongst the mention. Well, for Alkimos, in the final match of the D3 last week, 11 goals accounting for Phoenix with 4. Again, a 5-0 first quarter for Alkimos, really setting it up there. Your side, I think, missed you in goals last week. You weren't there, were you?
No, Division 2, I got a promotion.
Well, we'll find out if that worked or not in a moment. But for Alkimos, it was Conrad Frankie and Josh Koss with 3 each for the Pirates. Luke Thomas and Chris Ford with doubles. Well, Cam Blair had a pair for Phoenix. See, I love poetry. Had a pair for Phoenix with Riley Pine and Aaron Sargent both netting 1. And I called it a juggernaut. Is there a reason?
You tell me. Maybe because East Fremantle sit undefeated on 14 wins and 0 losses. Wembley on a 10-4. They take second. Wanneroo Joondalup third on 7-7. Alkimos hold 4th by 4 points over Bayswater, but on 0.61%. Winner.
Yeah.
The winner on this Sunday goes through.
Pretty much it. So Alkimos with 4th place, but that's 1 win. You play, or they play, Bayswater this weekend. Bayswater lead by the narrowest of percentages. A win for Bayswater, and you're in the finals there, D3. Lose, and your season's over. It's that simple. Okay, stats sees Luke Grootveld with 32 goals and Sean Kennedy with 30. And you mentioned this Sunday, mate?
This Sunday, Wembley against Phoenix, Wanneroo Joondalup versus East Fremantle, and Bayswater versus Alkimos at 1 p.m. Broadcast for 4th.
Yeah, so we will be at Bayswater this Saturday and Sunday for the matches, and we've prioritised D3, a battle for 4th place, as our one of the matches of the round for Sunday this weekend. Going backwards, let's have a look at D2, where this bloke had a crack last week. Subiaco enjoyed the weekend off. I suspect you might have enjoyed the weekend off too. Things didn't quite go as well as you'd hoped.
No.
Bruised, battered.
But I will say, my replacement when I did go off the field, Warren Brown,
Can play.
let in more than he could save, so it may look bad, 17-4, but when I went off, it was 3 to
10.
13, something like that.
Brownie, I think he's just tried to throw you under the bus. I wouldn't have that at training tomorrow night.
A little bit.
Alright, well, before we have a look in more details at that match, Wembley with 16 got up over East Fremantle. Well, they might be juggernauting in D3, but they're D2 not having quite the same joy. They went down 16-7 to Wembley, while Jake Strafacci had 4, Fraser Gill, John Narby and Dan Sluter had 3s for Wembley. Mick Waddell jumped in with 2.
For East Fremantle, it was Wayne Curran with 3 and Tristan Jensen with 2. Bayswater 4 and Wanneroo Joondalup 17. Alex McBean bagged 3 for Bayswater. Alex Hobbs with 1 of his own.
Now, is Alex Hobbs the reef or the beef?
He's the reef.
Just checking.
For Wanneroo Joondalup, Dylan Hoyen had 4 to lead the charge. Ron Panton and Cam Mulcahy scored 3, Stuart Walker with 2.
Which means the D2 ladder looks like this. Wanneroo Joondalup with 10-1 despite that big win there. They still just remain 1 win clear of Wembley, who have 9 wins, while East Fremantle sit 3rd on 6, and Bayswater will should round out the 4 with 3 wins there. Subiaco will take 5th place in the D2. Goal scorers?
Ben Jones sits 22 goals clear of 45, but was goalless on Saturday. Alex McBean and Graham Duffy both got 3 and are on the 26.
Oh, Cam Mulcahy leads this. Don't worry, I knew where you were going. Cam Mulcahy leads the assist. We're starting to get some rhythm here. With 25, Graham the Duff Man Duffy has 12. And this weekend, the semi-finals sees, not the semi-finals, I'm a week ahead of myself. Last round of the regular season. Bayswater versus Subiaco at 2:45 at Halliday. We're not broadcasting that one. We're having a break in between.
Wanneroo Joondalup versus East Fremantle is a 1v3 battle. Wembley with the bye this week, so nothing to stress about.
Yeah, no real position should change, I don't think. Well, a lot of things will change if you use our sponsors, ID Athletic, for all your sporting apparel and club merchandise. You can look as good as we do. ID Athletic, thanks to them for their supporters. They put out a great range of sporting apparel and club merchandise, and I'm just wondering whether it's actually this that's causing that glitch in, so I'll shut that down as well and we'll toggle across. As well as ID Athletic, though, we thank Vision Decor for their continued support, along with Ashby Farrell White Arch and Barnett Construction for all their continuing support. It did not help at all, did it?
If anything, it made it a little bit worse.
Oh, well, we soldier on just like the fabulous work of our sponsors, Vision Decor, ID Athletic, as well as Barnett Construction and Ashby Farrell White Arch. Now, before we go over east, let's have a look at the State League men. Lots of stuff going. What does that look for, dude? I know I'm 60 and you're only in your 20s, but that look said like, whoa.
I need my glasses. That's a lot of people scoring goals.
Well, I'll tackle it for you, but yeah, I had to try and squeeze it all in because the men's State League last week, there were some big games and they kicked it off on Thursday night as Wembley played a home game at East Fremantle. I'm not sure about that, but it cost them in the end, going down 13-10 Thursday night. Lucas Kozwara and Braden Pantin with 3 each. Max Sadka had 2, and Matt Wood and Afik Jackson both with singles for Wembley. Mitch Kennedy, he had 3, so too did Cam Evangelo, while Griffin Cook, Charlie Warren and Ryan Hockey all put 2 in the back of the net.
Bayswater put in a ripping 4-goal last quarter against Wanneroo Joondalup in the Joe Sizzler Memorial match, but went down 9-10. Very, very close. Matt Shields with 3 in singles to Adam Sopp, Clancy Buckley and Liam Bryant. JBC,
Jackson Barron, yeah.
Jackson Barron and Alex Halliday, beef. For Wanneroo Joondalup, it was the General, Lockie Walker, with a bag of 4, followed by Jordan Gillespie and Josh Polkinghorn with 2. And Jacob Meller and Adam Geragian with 1s.
Nailed it, mate. And it was a bit of a scare for Subiaco in the final match last weekend for the Men's State League here in WA. Subiaco had to work hard. They got the win over Phoenix 8-5. However, we'll have a look at that in just a second. It was a 3-0 final quarter for Phoenix, so luckily Subiaco had enough of a lead to withstand that. James Dugan, there you go, James, or Hammond Dugan, not Duggan, it is Dugan, which is why I spelled it that way, so I say it that way. He had 3 for Subiaco. Big shout out to all the Dugans around the world. Henry Simmons had 2, with singles going to Aaron Salter, Alex Bresci and Gabe Christensen.
Phoenix's Cade Moyer had 2, while Zeph Alseki, Xavier Williams, Xavier Williams and 30 Forget singles. 3-0 to Phoenix in the last quarter.
Yeah, so realistically they're just a bit of an early break. Subiaco able to withstand a late comeback from Phoenix, and one last chance this week for Phoenix to get another W on their ledger. East Fremantle, well, they aren't undefeated in the State League. They've dropped 1, but they've won 13 of them. Wembley will finish second, or should finish second, with 10 wins at the moment. Wanneroo Joondalup have 9. Subiaco will finish 4th. There's no doubt about it. After being knocked out last year, the Lions back with a bit of a point to prove. They finished on 7, so need to find a way to goal Subiaco. They've got Josiah in the cage there, but they need goals at the other end.
This week we have Wanneroo Joondalup versus East Fremantle Friday night at 7 p.m.
Yep, got to be there to watch that one, because I'm not doing 3 days in a row.
Sunday we have Bayswater versus Subiaco at 4:30.
What time? What time?
4:30.
4:30.
4:30. Jeez. Going
I know.
into the night game.
I'm taking me extra long woolies. And in the final game, Wembley up against Phoenix at Floreat. It'll be a tough ask for Phoenix to get a win over Wembley, but there you go. Yeah, 4:30 for that State League game, viewers, because we have got the 17s and junior finals leading up. Plus, we've got the Division 3 at 1 o'clock.
That's my game.
That's your game. Then we've got Division 2 at, I believe, 2:45. Sounds familiar. And then we have to allow time for presentations in the State League getting underway at 4:30. So bring your swag, bring your warm blankets, because if you're not there at the game, you can watch that one online. But of course, if you're in Perth, get on down and support your team up close and personal.
100%.
All right, let's jump the border, mate. Minecraft?
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Generation gap right there. South Australia, they've still got a couple of weeks left for both the men and women. Let's have a look at the women first. I'll let you do all 3 of those.
Brighton's bagging 21, beating the North Eagles, only scoring 2. Bit of a crash out for them. Glenelg beat by Burnside just by 1 with a score of 6-5.
And Brighton scoreline now, viewers, I've written adjusted there because last week I had them on 11-1. They won, and suddenly they're on 13-0. So some score adjustments going on in their South Australian Women's State League. Brighton now undefeated. Glenelg second, Woodville third, Burnside and North Eagles. Well, Burnside will finish in the 4, and North Eagles hoping for their first. But it's not going to be easy this week because they're up against Woodville. Burnside up against Brighton, and Glenelg enjoying the week off. For the men,
Burnside beating ETP 10-2 in the Albi Fuster Cup. Sturt were beaten by Glenelg 8-16. Woodvale 11 were beaten by Brighton 21.
and similar to the ladies, it is Brighton on top, 12-1. Glenelg, Woodville, Sturt in 4th place there. ETP, well, they trail Sturt in 4th place by just the 1 win, but unfortunately this week they're up against the ladder leaders Brighton, so ETP's pain, and that's a play on their name, East Torrens Paynham. I suspect the pain will continue for ETP. Glenelg taking on Burnside, and Woodville up against Sturt there in the final Men's State League match for South Australia this weekend.
Now on to Victoria. 2 weeks left, including this week, for the Men's State League competition. Men's State League Top 6 Series sees Footscray 10, losing to Melbourne 13. Caulfield 7, lost by 1 goal to Eltham 8. Camberwell 3 were no match for Williamstown 17.
Yeah, Williamstown having a good second half here, and Footscray surprise losers to Malvern there. Big shout out to Roger Chan, WA Subiaco player, now playing at Malvern over there in goals. One of your mob.
Yep, used to play for Bayswater for I think a season or so.
Was it Bayswater?
I remember he played for us for Bayswater for a few seasons.
Well, Frenchy always gives him a shout out, so either way, big shout out to you, Rog. Okay, this week sees Caulfield taking on Footscray. That pain, a bit like ETP's looking to continue there for Caulfield. Williamstown up against Eltham, and Malvern up against Camberwell. I'll get you to read the ladder as I toggle across to our YouTube channel where everyone is watching us, as I look down to just check if there's any more comments. We had, of course, Ratfink. I've got to get used to new names now. That is Tammy. She's in line to win our Australian Wallabies rugby top there. So good to have Tammy there. Might be handing that over on Saturday, I suspect.
On to the ladder. Williamstown going 12-1, followed by Footscray 11-2, Malvern 10-3, Camberwell with 8, Eltham 7, and Caulfield on 5.
Well, because in Victoria they do, like when you get to the last half dozen games, they call the top 6 and they play each other in a round robin to determine who goes into the grand final sort of thing.
I like that.
I like that. Okay, in the ladder, well, Williamstown, Footscray, usual suspects, both up there. Malvern in hot contention as well. Then a bit of a drop to Camberwell, Eltham and Caulfield. Women's State League in Melbourne, they had their grand final last weekend, so they're a week ahead of us over there at the Albert Ground, number 1, and the scoreline.
Williamstown 9 lost to Footscray 12. Footscray's 4th title in a row now. So, like our Bayswater.
Oh, here we go.
Sarah Mollinson with 5. Bonnie, you had 3 and was the MVP for the match. Sarah Smith with 2. And singles for Steph Kelly and Ebony Norman.
Well, Miriam Suarez Jury had 2 goals and 3 assists for Williamstown. And Marley Dawson chipping in with 3 goals as well. Unlucky there to the Williamstown team, but Footscray proving, as you said, 4th in a row. That's a bit of a dynasty, really, isn't it?
I agree.
And it would have been a battle because Sarah Mollinson getting the better of Danelle in a sister versus sister grand final there over in Melbourne. Well, we've soldiered through. We've had a look across the globe, across the country. It's almost time to call it quits. But before we do, I'd like to put a shout out to everyone. If you would like to sponsor the scoreboarders, we've got the sponsors sliding across there. Nathan Waterston of Nathan's Event Hire is doing some work to help us sort our IT, and I'll set him the job of fixing those glitches tomorrow. Thanks to everyone for joining us tonight, wherever you've been. I've seen a few of you online. Only Tammy's commented though. So Tammy, no, you don't qualify. Nice try. Oh, talk about sneaky.
I did it right in front of you as well.
Yeah, well, I was keeping the viewers entertained.
Can we ask Tammy if I'm allowed to join?
No. You've scored a singlet already. So, for being the only person who commented on our YouTube channel during the show, because we're wrapping it up now, Rat Thinker, otherwise known as Tammy Williamson, has scored. And don't hold it up, it rattles too much. Just slide your head to my side, because there's one hanging up behind you.
Oh.
There you go. You've won. Yeah, I know. It's like one of those you've won. Not one of those. One of those. Tammy Williamson, we'll get that to you on Saturday. Congratulations. Has a nice try there, putting your name in the list. But I've got to say thank you for soldiering on again.
It's been great. The names are sometimes challenging, but that's why I'm studying to be a teacher. Get those things right.
How's that all going for you?
Very, very
Busy?
hard, especially in high school, because I didn't really want to learn and pay attention or study. So jumping from not doing that to doing work and assignments every night, multiple times a night, it's challenging, but it's when you know how to space it out. It's great. It's easy.
Space it out. That was my whole philosophy during that.
90.
During my. Remember, I said I'm 60. Your 90s was my 70s and 80s.
I wasn't even born in the 90s. I was born in 2004. Early 2000s then, yeah.
As the young fellas remind me, you're only as old as you feel, and I'm feeling alright. Hopefully you are too, wherever you are. Just a reminder, thanks there to Tammy for the feedback. Great show. And yes, you have got that shirt, despite Hazard trying to steal it off you. Our broadcasts this weekend are all going to be out through YouTube. We won't have this glitch connection. I'm not sure what. I think that wasn't the phones. We've tried that. Not sure what's going on there, but we'll get that sorted, because on Saturday at 1 o'clock we see the 1:45 actually. We see the women's Division 2 Grand Final, Bayswater versus Wembley. Just a reminder, commentator needed. Shendell Oliver usually does the job for us, but she'll be out there trying to beat you a lot. So if anyone out there would like to give commentary a crack, D2, there's a vacancy for you. And then on Saturday at 3:30, it's the Women's State League Grand Final, East Fremantle up against Subiaco in what should be an absolute classic match, before Sunday in the final round of the men's competition. It's a Bayswater doubleheader, Division 3 up against Elkamos at 1 o'clock, and then I've got a bit of a break before we broadcast State League Bayswater versus Subiaco at 4:30. Well, they've been scrolling across the bottom of your screen all night, viewers. ID Athletic for your sporting apparel and club merchandise, as well as Vision Decor for your curtains, blinds, awnings, and even hybrid floorings. Our two platinum sponsors, we appreciate their support. Please show yours to them, and wherever you are across the globe, mate. There's lots going on in the world, isn't there?
A lot for better and for worse, but sticking to the positives, we've got the rest of the Olympics to look forward to and a very, very, very close medal tally.
Well, and it's interesting how America still seem to find themselves up top based on their own metrics of medals won, not golds, etc. But we're used to that. They win every world championship because they're the only country competing in that. But as we scroll back, just a reminder as well, I toggled back to that one. Happy birthday to Tony Barker for today, or for yesterday I should say, as well as a reminder to sign up for the North versus South tournament. Best luck to the ladies and players in Japan, heading to Hong Kong shortly. Wherever you are across this globe, please take care out there, stay safe, be nice, not only to yourself, but to those around you as well. On behalf of Harrison Parker, I am Noel Nosey Johnston till Saturday at 1 o'clock.